Fantastic. So thank you, Stephanie, for joining us here today. Really glad to have you with us. It's an exciting opportunity. So again, appreciate your company today. Okay, so let me introduce myself and I'll introduce you. First of all, I'd just like to say hello and welcome to our live masterclass session from Changing Education. This is an opportunity for employers to give you, the students, a real insight into their world of work. My name is Amos Madra and I'm a careers advisor here at Changing Education. I just want to take a quick moment just to give a massive shout out, a huge thank you to all our health and social care students at WQE who've been very active. I've been really impressed with your engagement in everything that you've been doing on this virtual work experience. It's been absolutely brilliant seeing your commitment to the virtual work experience week. I love to see your work, and when you get it submitted, I'm looking forward to seeing that. So just a huge thank you to all the students who are studying health and social care at WQE. So massive thank you to all of you. Again, thank you to my guest today, who's nurse Stephanie Shear, who's fully qualified and highly experienced nurse at St. Catherine's as an adult nurse. Stephanie has worked with the police, mental health services, and a different range of adult settings. So I'm looking forward to getting your questions to Stephanie today. And by the way, if you do want to get your questions in, make sure you put them into the comments. We will be keeping an eye on all your comments. So great to see so many of you there. Nia, Naima, glad to see you back again. Great to have you here. We've got Ella as well. We've got Mohammed. We've got Emmanuel. We've got so many of you. Amina, great to have all of you here. Keep the questions coming in, guys. Again, looking forward to this one. Stephanie, how you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah, great to have you here today. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and what you do?
Okay, so I'm a unit lead at St. Catherine's. So I'm in charge of a unit, a 20-bedded unit. It's a nursing unit. I've been a nurse now, it'll be coming up 5 years. So it is quite a while, but still a long way to go. But I have been on quite a lot of different journeys through my career so far. I started out as a care worker and sort of worked my way up, which I think is, the best way to go. But yeah, that's really about me. I've been all over the show. As you said, I've been in different sectors, different services, experienced different areas of nursing. So yeah, I've got quite a broad spectrum of places that I've been to.
Yeah, and working with the police, mental health services, working with people with disabilities. There's so many different things that you've done, working in agencies as well. These are, have made you versatile. And also, the route that you took was you did an access course. Am I right in saying that at college?
Yeah, I did. Okay. I did an access to health-related studies.
And can you tell us a bit about that route that you took? Because some people might be thinking, you know what, I'm 16 to 18 and maybe I didn't pick the right course. I wish I had picked maybe a nursing course. Not to say that there's anything wrong with what they've picked at the moment, but for someone like you who chose to go into an access course, can you tell us about that journey and how that led to you becoming a professional nurse?
Yeah, so I started off, I wasn't originally going to go into anything to do with nursing. And it was around the age, I think, about 19 when I actually went and did the access course. Prior to that, I'd sort of been in and out of different courses, not really sure what I wanted to do. My mum's a nurse and, I've got quite a nursey background in my family. So it was something I thought sort of ummed and ahed about going into. But at 19, I made the decision that I wanted to be a nurse. So I went to South Cheshire College on an access to health-related studies course. I had to redo my maths and English as well. And I did that. It was sort of like a health and social background sort of course. And we did a bit of psychology. There was, the science side of it. It was applied science. And it sort of opened that door to go into a nursing course. You know, we had midwives, there was girls on there that wanted to go into paediatrics, which is child nursing. So it did open that door to go into sort of a health related career. From there, I applied to the University of Chester, where I got accepted into an adult nursing course to become a nurse.
Fantastic. So it was, again, it wasn't a straightforward journey, but those different, would you have done it differently given the opportunity? Or were you glad that you took those routes? Has that made you the person that you are today?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think it is a difficult course. It's not an easy course. I think you need that because the career of a nurse isn't specifically an easy career. You know, there's a lot of different emotional attachments involved in being a nurse. So I think you need to build that bit of, you know, robust about you before you sort of go into a nursing career. So I think it is good, you know, that I had that journey behind me before, you know, I went into my degree.
Yeah. I want to get into the questions now from our audience, and believe me, they're fantastic. These guys really know how to ask questions. They'll give Jeremy Paxman a run for his money. So let's start with Laura. Laura's asking, what does a typical day or week look like for you?
So my weeks can be all over the place. I'd love to say everything that I write down in the diary goes to plan and we tick every box and it's great. But being a nurse, generally, you know, you've got your meds rounds, which are priority and, you know, wound care and things like that. But you always have to prioritise, and it's always constant decision making, constant elimination of what can wait and what needs to be done now. And it is very much thinking on your feet and sort of, you know, looking at your workload and thinking, right, this has to come first, and getting things sort of done in an agenda rather than, you know, having, you do try and plan because it's good to have a plan, but you very much don't generally stick to a plan because you can't plan nursing really. You can have like a framework that you can work towards, but you can't specifically have a plan, I would say.
Yeah.
So can just be all over the show. You know, you do your medication rounds, you have your wounds and anything like that. You look at if you've got a GP round and go, you know, if anybody needs escalating for help or doctors or anything like that. If you need to liaise with any outside agencies regards patients you're looking after, they would really be your priorities.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much my sort of working week.
Sounds really busy. You're on your feet all day. You know, you're going through different things from medication to obviously making sure patients are okay, obviously going on your rounds. And yes, it's a lot of involvement in terms of, you know, being able to look at different things, being flexible as well, I suppose, in all these different things. And again, attention to detail, really important, especially with medication, making sure you provide a right ones, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Imts has asked great questions here, and he's asking, Imts is asking, what qualifications do you need to do what you're doing?
So I'm degree level. I believe that they used to do a diploma in nursing, but I think that they went to degree only. If I'm, you know, it might have changed from when I qualified, but I think when I qualified, it was going to degree level. But first I did my access course where I got merits and distinctions in that. And then I went to university, which sort of you go through like, I think it's diploma, certificate, diploma, then degree level. So over the 3 years, you sort of go up a level. So that's where that's my qualifications at the minute to be in my post.
So it goes up to degree level, and
Yeah.
obviously you have to be registered with the Nursing and Midwifery Council as well.
Yeah, an MC. Yeah.
Right. So is that every 3 years, or how does that work?
So every year you have to renew your registration, and then every 3 years you do something called a revalidation, and that's sort of like a portfolio of everything you do in your career. So any sort of training that you do, anything that can evidence you progress in your nursing abilities and skills and your clinical knowledge, and you put it together in a file, and then every 3 years at random they'll pick, you know, not every year they'll pick somebody's file, and it can just be a random out the hat, and then you have to submit all your file to them. so they can go through it and make sure, you know, you're practicing under their code of conduct and the NMC code of conduct, and making sure you're working well within your remit.
Yeah. Can you switch from adult nurse to child nurse? Is that possible? Or
so you can be dual qualified, but you'd have to go and do extra training. So I think you have to do, it might be a year or 2 years. What they do, of course, is called dual qualified, and that's the same with like mental health nurses as well, or learning disability nurses.
yeah, thank you for sharing that with us. Naya wants to know, how do you manage your hours? Is it difficult to manage? How do you get that work-life balance?
So my boss is really good. She's really, you know, helpful with everybody. I have a young daughter who's 9. So sometimes I need to be quite flexible with childcare, and my boss, you know, helps out a lot with that. But generally, nursing wise, you'll probably do 3 12-hour shifts a week. Usually your manager, you know, they try their best to do it. So if there's childcare or things that we understand, you know, everybody has sort of a life and that, but, you know, you do get your usually 3 12-hour shifts, and then you'll get 4 days off, or, you know, if you're nights or whatever, and it sort of works like that, which some people really enjoy because you get that gap of actual freedom. But the 12-hour shifts, they are quite grueling. They are quite hard work. Nobody's going to say they're easy, because they're not. You know, your mind can be blown sometimes when you finish.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's part of your role and it's part of your job. And I think it's the best way to give someone that 100% care is by being with them that whole time.
Yeah. So really important to have a flexible boss. Be prepared for the long grill. It's intense, but at the end of the day, it's all about providing that care, isn't it? And that's what makes it worthwhile. Got a great question here from Cameron and Naima, who kind of asking the same question. You know, when you worked in mental health, what was that like? How did you find that your time?
So 100%, if I'm honest, when I first went into mental health, I was quite frightened and skeptical, because, you know, mental health, it's something we'll never understand. People have different levels of mental health, and it's sort of the unknown. So if somebody's got a wound, you can put a plaster or dressing on it. If somebody's got, you know, an illness, you can treat it with the pillars. Mental health is a lot different, and a lot more levels of, you know, not knowing things really, and sort of having to anticipate somebody's needs. I really enjoyed mental health. At first, like I said, it did intimidate me, because, you know, it is very unpredictable nursing, and it's very much thinking on your feet, and it can be very fast paced, and things can happen at the switch of a hat, and you sort of have to be on your toes. But I found it really, you know, fulfilling and great. If you can get somebody, a lot of people in mental health, the idea is to get them back into the community, living a normal life, well, as normal as what their normal is. And being able to achieve that with somebody, when you see them come into a service so sort of broken, and you can help rehabilitate them and get them back out there and live in a, you know, a good life, it's a really rewarding role. So I really enjoyed mental health.
So the reward of what you do is always at the forefront, isn't it? And that keeps you motivated. I think there's this saying, you know, find something that you enjoy doing and it doesn't feel like work. So yeah, great advice. Guys, keep the questions coming in. We've got some really good questions here. Charlotte's asking, what do you enjoy the most about what you do?
Making people smile, making people's life 100% better, giving people the ability to enjoy their life to the best of their ability, just helping people to be as independent as possible. And it is just seeing those people, you know, people you look after, just looking at them, knowing that you've helped that person have a better life and achieve goals and feel happy. That's what I love about my job.
Yeah, and that kind of relates to the question Amelia's asking here. She wants to know, how do you keep yourself motivated?
It is that you keep yourself motivated by the people you look after. So, you know, you always know at the end of a shift that you've helped somebody, and it's a massive rewarding role. You know, there's not a lot of places I would say you could work where you leave a shift knowing you've changed somebody's life. And you do in nursing. it is sort of a vocation rather than a job. It takes a special person to become a nurse, because it is long hours, it is a hard job, but it is extremely rewarding.
Yeah. Again, it's that word, isn't it? It's rewarding.
Yeah.
We've got Nahida wants to know, what advice would you give to somebody who wants to do what you're doing?
Be prepared to work long hours because, like I've said, it is grueling. Be prepared for a bit of an emotional roller coaster. I think definitely as your career progresses, you learn to deal with things better, but as a newly qualified, it can be quite difficult. You'll see a lot of things that sort of will deter you, but it is working with your team. Your team is your best support, the people around you. You know, it's not unknown for nurses to, you know, cry. It's not unknown for care workers to cry. It's a really emotional job that you go into, you know, but it's having that, you've almost got that work family. It's a really nice culture to be around. And it is like, you know, your team's your best friends really at work. But yeah.
Yeah. Your team's your best friend. You know, you need your team, don't you?
Definitely.
Madison wants to know, was this always a career that you wanted to do?
I think from a young age, I did want to go into nursing. I was a bit and ahhing because I know my mum, you know, she did the really long hours. She came in tired with writing all up her arm, which I've got that trait as well, just by a notebook. Yeah, so, you know, I used to look at my mum and think, oh, she looks really tired. But then I feel like I've got the same caring nature as my mum, and I feel like I was a good fit for the job. And then when I started my training, I was so excited to sort of get out there and get in, you know, into different areas of nursing. And I sort of knew, I think they say you know from your first year if you can do it or not. And from my first year at university, I absolutely loved it. So I knew that was the job for me.
And was that through confidence, or was that just knowing that, you know what, I can handle this work pressure, or was it just
I think
pure?
it was doing the shifts and knowing that I could do it, I was capable of doing it. And it was just seeing the impact that you have on somebody. Like, I really enjoyed that, just seeing how much I could help somebody, I thought was brilliant. And seeing people, you know, recover and, you know, being there for people at their most vulnerable and being their advocate, their support, you know, is a really nice role to do.
Yeah. Ella's asking, was it difficult for you to get to the role that you're in, because you started off as a carer and then to nursing? Was that journey difficult?
It was quite difficult. Like I mentioned before, I had a young child when I went into my career. So it was sort of juggling that as well. But, you know, I think I couldn't have done my job now without the sort of experience and different range of settings I've been into. My manager's really good because she supported me in the management side of things to sort of open up my skill set and my abilities. So, yeah, it was difficult. I wouldn't say it's a job I would go into straight at the start of my career, because I think you do need that experience and that knowledge behind you to be able to show good leadership and then lead a team and make sure people are looked after properly. You sort of need to know everything that you need to look out for and it's always an ongoing learning process being in the nursing career. So it's the ability to pick up things and change really quite quickly as well, which is quite hard to learn. And I think that does come with experience.
Yeah, again, it's that being versatile, isn't it?
Yeah.
That comes through experience, as you've wisely put for us. We spoke yesterday to your colleagues, Gabriella and Sarah, and we spoke about COVID, how that has affected the nursing home, and sadly, you've had some losses, and everybody deals with loss in a different way. We've got a great question here from Saray, who wants to know, how do you deal with losses?
So you never quite, I wouldn't say you quite deal with losses. I'd say that you learn to sort of put them in a box and carry on, because, you know, although that's heartbreaking what's happened, you've still got people that you need to be there for. You still, you know, need to advocate and look after those people. So I don't think you ever learn to sort of deal with loss. You just manage to put it aside and carry on. It's really difficult because these people that you look after, you do get attached to them. You know, they are part of your job, the people you see every day, and they are, you know, it's like your colleagues in a way. You know, you're around everybody all the time, so these people becomes part of your work family, and you know, you are. And when you lose one, it is absolutely heartbreaking. It is really difficult to deal with, but you've still got people to look after, so you have to prioritize the people that you've still got to look after, even though you sort of upset about what's gone on. And that's again, it comes with experience, being able to sort of look at the situation, be, you know, really have to sort of change your mindset and focus on, right, this is what I've got to do now. So you sort of move forward, and you almost become where you get a process in your head, you can sort of switch off to the emotional side of it, because you've got that process in your head that you know you need to follow now to sort of move forward on the unit.
Yeah. And that's, I think, the most difficult part, isn't it? Is switching off and then moving on. But then at the end of the day, I suppose you're thinking about, you know, the rest of the unit, as you said, and, you know, the other clients that, or patients that you're dealing with. And
Yeah.
it's always putting those at the forefront. And I suppose between you and your colleagues, that time for mourning will have to be later on in your own time, isn't it?
Yeah, and you do. I mean, there's some nights where you go home and, you know, we all have a cry, and we all, sometimes at work, you just have a cry because, you know, it is an emotional job and we're only human. And it's not, you know, we're all here for each other. So if somebody has a day where they're like that, we just all come together. And that's the side of nursing that is, you know, actually it's lovely because you've got that much support around you, and everybody, you know, we all feel the same pain when somebody dies. But you've got that support network, and you know, yeah, it just sort of, you just sort of manage to cope with it in certain ways.
Yeah. I notice you keep mentioning support network. How important is that?
Oh, it's crucial, absolutely crucial in nursing, yeah, and care. Any sort of healthcare role, you need your colleagues around you, because
Yeah.
the only people that are ever going to feel the same as you.
Yeah, I've got a great question here from Khadija, and she wants to know, what do you think about nursing apprenticeships? Do you know much about the apprenticeship route, and is that more popular now with your colleagues who've gone into this career?
So I think, is it along the lines of secondment? Is that?
Yeah, I think she's just asking if you know, are there people who work with you who've come through the apprenticeship route, maybe?
So no, we haven't got anybody here, but I have, you know, that's generally more at a hospital, I think, that you can do this secondment route,
Yeah,
sort of where you'll be a healthcare assistant and you'll be interested in going into your nursing, and then you'll work alongside doing your nursing as well as doing your healthcare role. I think that's more hospital based than sort of health and social care sector based.
yeah. Well, Khadija, there's your answer. Beth wants to know, would you ever change and do something else, or have you found, you know, your calling, should we say?
I think I'll stay in nursing. I think I will venture into different parts of nursing. But I do think, you know, I will stay in nursing. I think,
Yeah.
like I said, you know, I have to be a certain person for nursing. And I feel that's my sort of calling in life, is to be a nurse.
Yeah, there you go. Your calling to life is to be a nurse. And what final words would you like to leave our audience with? What would you like to leave them with today?
So it's if you're going into nursing, it's an absolutely fantastic career. There'll be lots of ups and downs, but it's an unbelievably rewarding career. And I wish you all the best of luck if you're going into this role. Always remember to rely on your colleagues, and I'm sure you'll all be brilliant.
Fantastic. So you've heard it, guys. It's a rewarding career. Rely on your colleagues, and it'll all be rewarding at the end. So I just want to say a huge thank you to my guest today, Stephanie. And I just want to take this opportunity as well just to thank our students from WQE, Health and Social Care students. Really great to have you guys here today. You know, all of you as well, you know, participating in this. live stream. Again, really great to have you guys here. And it's really good to see how active you guys are on LinkedIn. My phone's going off, lots of you tagging me in your posts. Keep doing so. You know, I'd love to know how you guys are finding this week. You know, keep going with your virtual work experience. I hope you're enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to your work being submitted. I'll be going over it later on. Well, from myself and Stephanie, just want to say thank you very much and take care. Bye-bye. We'll be back tomorrow again. Be sure to tune in. Thank you.